And good morning, everybody. What I'd like to talk to you about this morning is a dozen ways to ruin your perfectly good auto injury case. And these are only a dozen. There are plenty more, so there may be further talks. Number one, don't get a police report. It used to be very common when you were involved in an accident, the local police department came out and took a report. They would interview the parties and the witnesses, and they would inspect the damage and look for skid marks and things like that. They don't do that much anymore unless an ambulance is needed. So do what you can to get the police to come out and take a report. The CHP is still really good about it, but the local departments vary. Depends on their workload. Police reports are important because insurance companies rely on them a lot in adjusting cases. Number two, don't take photos of the scene and the vehicles. You only have one opportunity while the vehicles are still at the location of the scene to take these photos. Go ahead and take your smartphone or the camera that you have in your glove compartment. You do have a camera in your glove compartment, right? So use that to take photographs of the vehicles where they are and get photographs of the damage, but also get broad shots that show the location of the vehicles and where the damage is located. Sometimes I see pictures of lots of damage and you can't really tell just where it is on the car. Number three, don't get license, registration, and insurance information. We're obligated to exchange information at the scene of the accident, but a lot of people don't. They're all hyped up, the adrenaline is flowing, they're probably hurting, and they don't think about it. And so many people won't get this information. I suggest while you have your little smartphone out, go ahead and take pictures of these things. Take pictures of the license, registration, and insurance card of the other party. Number four, don't go to the emergency room, urgent care, or see your own doctor within 72 hours. This is a good way to mess up your claim. Insurance companies use software to evaluate claims, and one of the questions that the adjuster has to answer is, was there any medical care within 72 hours after the accident? If the answer is yes, that's good for your claim. If the answer is no, not so good. Now, these first four ways to ruin your auto injury case apply mostly in smaller cases. If you've got a catastrophic injury, it's going to be taken care of. The police will come, ambulances will be there. You're not going to have to get up off of the gurney and take pictures and get information. That'll be taken care of for you. But in smaller cases, you have to take care of what the police would otherwise do for you. Number five, don't tell your attorney or doctor about your prior accidents, injuries, and medical conditions. Many people have this idea that if they've had prior injuries or medical conditions that impact their health, that it'll affect their case and lower its value. And so maybe they want to hide that from their attorney. First of all, you don't want to hide anything from your attorney. We don't want to be broadsided by information later on. But secondly, having prior injuries could actually enhance the value of your case because it could make you more susceptible to injury from a relatively minor impact that wouldn't bother someone who didn't have those prior injuries. Also, it could explain why you might need more care to get better. Number six, don't tell your doctor about all of your symptoms. Some people don't like to talk to their doctors when they go in. They just get their treatment and leave. But your medical records will only be as complete as the information that you give to your doctors. So make sure that you tell them about everything that hurts. Number seven, don't follow your doctor's advice and create gaps in treatment. If your doctor says that you need to come in for treatment 3 times a week, do it. Go in and get the treatment. It'll help you get better faster, and it'll also provide good documentation for your claim. When you're treating for an accident, this is not the time to take that grand tour of Europe for a month. You do not want to have a large gap in your treatment. It gives the insurance company a great opening to argue that if you didn't get the care, you probably didn't need it. Or maybe something new has happened during that gap to cause injuries, and they shouldn't be responsible for anything after that. Number eight, don't preserve your privacy rights. Insurance adjusters will contact you right away, and they'll want to take a recorded statement from you, and they'll want to have you sign medical authorizations. The medical authorizations are always overbroad. They will allow them to get medical records from every doctor that you've ever seen concerning any condition that you've ever treated. This isn't necessary. They're only entitled to information concerning the injury that's at issue in your case. I had one case where a client was injured in an accident and broke her leg, and it was in litigation, and the defense subpoenaed all of her medical records from every doctor they could find, including her OBGYN. And I called the defense attorney. I said, "You're not entitled to that." And he said, "Well, we're going to get it." So I had to file a motion to quash. And of course, they were not allowed to get those records, but they will try to get every record that they can. Recorded statements are designed to get you to commit to something that will harm your claim. There's no obligation to do it. Sometimes insurance companies will say, "Well, we can't adjust your claim if you don't give us a recorded statement and you don't sign the medical authorizations." It's untrue. I never let my clients do those things, and I've had thousands of cases. Number 9, don't purchase adequate limits on your auto insurance, especially uninsured motorist coverage. A lot of people driving around out there today don't have auto insurance, even though it's required by law. If they hit you and you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, you're out of luck. There's nothing you can do about it. You can decide how much coverage you want to protect yourself with your own uninsured motorist coverage. So if you want $100,000 in coverage in case some yahoo runs into you, you can buy that coverage. You can make sure if they didn't have coverage, you can make a claim against your own policy. Also, if they have a small policy, many people who do have insurance called up the insurance company or went online and saved hundreds of dollars on their car insurance, but in the process got the cheapest, lowest amount of coverage available. That's $15,000 for injuries for an individual in California, and it has been for decades. You can protect yourself. If you have $100,000 in uninsured motorist coverage and the other person who caused the accident has 15, you can get their 15 and then make a further claim against your policy for up to another $85,000. So you can protect yourself there. Number 10, post about your accident on Facebook and other social media. Insurance companies are all over this. They're gathering information online. They know more about you than your mother. So don't post this information. It's not helpful. Number 11, rule out litigation. Many cases can be handled through a negotiation process. We have a 2-year statute in California, so you have to either settle the case or get a lawsuit filed within 2 years. Not every case can be settled within that 2-year period. Your treatment may still be ongoing. There may be serious questions about liability or other factors that cause the case not to be able to settle. Don't tie your attorney's hands. Don't say, "I will not litigate this case. I want you to settle it. I don't care what we get." You can get a much better result if you allow your attorney to file a lawsuit, take it through the discovery process, and take it to trial. Even cases where lawsuits are filed are often settled at some point before trial, but some cases, frankly, just have to be tried. And number 12, the final way to ruin your auto injury case is to go it alone. I have had the pleasure and honor of representing many very smart people, doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, a professor. And these people were very smart and knew what they were doing in their own occupations and careers. But they were also smart enough to know what they didn't know, and that they were not experts in auto accident injury cases. So do yourself a favor. If you have been involved in an accident, give me a call. I can help you. Okay? Any questions? All right. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Sean.
No, you talked about, the 100, 300 baseline sort of policies for people in liability, and I'm not good at the insurance, but then you also talked about the umbrella policy and higher limits, and what's the recommendation for the uninsured?
Well, you should talk to your insurance agent. We just happen to have a great insurance agent here who can tell you what's appropriate for your situation. But the general idea,
speak to their business attorney.
Yes, and the general idea is that you should have enough protection so that you're not subject to someone else's determination of what your limits are going to be. So if you want $100,000 per person in insurance, you get liability coverage for that, and then you can get uninsured motorist coverage of the same amount, so you have that same protection for yourself. Don't just buy the liability insurance. That protects you in case you harm someone else. But your uninsured motorist coverage protects you in case someone else harms you. All right. Yes, Sally.
What happens if you get into an accident and you have a lawyer fees they don't know about fees, and then they don't think that their lawyer is doing any good, so they want you to take it over, or they want your advice? Is that something that you can do, or do you not do that? Or?
I'm always willing to talk to people who are unhappy. I generally discourage people from changing attorneys in midstream. It's not always the best idea, but I'm always willing to talk to them, and if they're truly unhappy, I can help.